So if you were one of those persons that actually felt Naruto and Sasuke stood a chance against Isshiki Otsutsuki in this chapter, I honestly don't know what you really and truly expected. Well, going everyone, Sanji Uchiha here, and today we're here fresh, well not really fresh, but we're here to talk about Boruto Manga chapter 50, and the title is Potential Value, like some marketing or financial shits. But hey, it is what it is. Of course, before we get into today's review, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're actually on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we're, more or less almost there. Hopefully we can hit that target before the end of the year. I would really appreciate the support. So if you like Boruto content, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and definitely leave a comment in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So Boruto Manga chapter 50. And I must say, apologies for the late review. It's there's no helping it. If you saw my Shaman King reaction video this morning, for the most part I have work. I haven't changed out it, obviously, so it is what it is. But chapter 50, potential value. Honestly, if you've seen my expectations video for this chapter that I posted about 3 days ago, this chapter more or less went the way I was expecting it to. But it did align itself with some of my more, my expectations that I really wanted to see in terms of like setup for future conflict regarding the antagonist. That's the thing I feel like it's really setting up with this chapter. Now, to start off, we know that this chapter features the fight between Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto, making their last stand against Isshiki Otsutsuki for the most part. Meanwhile, Konoha continues to be evacuated, and we have a bit of a focus on Amado and Kawaki like I was expecting. Now, I know one of the biggest problems going into a chapter like this, like how I've said in previous videos leading up to this review, is that the biggest problem I think persons are having with the Boruto franchise in general is the representation of Naruto and Sasuke in combats, as well as the antagonist and the emotional connection between the audience and the main characters and the antagonist. So that's the main problem that the Boruto series has been having. And considering this is a chapter that features more or less the defeat of Naruto and Sasuke again, they're not fully out of the game just yet, but it's something that we'll definitely need to talk about for this chapter. But at the beginning, let's start there. So we have a bit of character moments here between Naruto and Boruto where, Naruto's asking where are they. Of course, Boruto doesn't know. Boruto just kind of went on his, the information or things he's observed about their Otsutsuki and their ability to transfer persons to other dimensions, which leads Naruto to say, yo, you get that from me. So a little character moments there, a little father-son moment, which was, I guess it was a nice touch. But of course, we immediately segue into the fight where we learn a very interesting tidbit. Once Isshiki grabs on to Boruto, he basically says or confirms that Boruto's Otsutsufication, did I say that right? is basically at 70, even maybe 80% complete, which is pretty insane. So it makes me wonder, like, yo, for the time skip, Boruto's transformation is either he's found a way to slow down the progression of it, or the Jogan that we see Boruto have in the future is like a factor in preventing Momoshiki from taking over his body, or maybe he and Momoshiki have come up to some deal or something. So that answers one question in terms of how far along Boruto is, but it raises a lot of other questions, which is always good. It allows us to look forward to other things within the story, but that's good. But of course, we get back into the fight with Sasuke coming in with a Chidori. Of course, it doesn't work. To be honest, the choreography for this chapter, I would say it was alright to a good, but it didn't really go above and beyond like how I would have personally wanted, considering what they already know about Isshiki. Now, I've already said that there's only so much they can actually do against Isshiki, and I didn't expect them to win or even perform any better than they did last time, but I was expecting them to at least be a bit more strategic. Not that they weren't, but I was expecting a bit more strategy and in terms of the moves that they use. But that really actually aligns with the complaints I feel like persons have with this chapter, that Naruto and Sasuke aren't really pulling out a lot of moves from their move pool to use against Isshiki. Now, I understand and I will actually agree with that, but there's always a flip side to that argument. I have also said that, yo, there's only so much they can pull out against Isshiki. And I think even the initial part where Naruto was rushing into the fight with his dual Rasengan signifies or basically re-emphasizes this. Isshiki essentially just shrank it like instantly. So it's things like Rasen Shuriken, Tail Beast Bomb, Shadow Clone Jutsu, Amaterasu, Susanoo arrows, stuff like that, they just would be a waste of chakra. So while I do acknowledge that I feel like Kodachi needs to use up Sasuke and Naruto's move pool a bit more, the flip side is that from a strategic standpoint, it doesn't make sense wasting all that chakra. So yeah, that's the, I wouldn't say a complaint, that's the double-edged sword I felt this chapter had. But I still kind of desired more from the choreography of the fight with this chapter. But at the end of the day, Naruto and Sasuke did what they could. We have, well, Sasuke at one point almost felt like I almost felt like he was out of the game after he initially rescued Boruto. We have Naruto going in with Shadow Clones, Chakra Arms. As I said, we have Isshiki going in, he is using his Sukuna Hikona, shrinking himself. It's almost impossible to actually pin him down. And that's what was on display for this chapter, despite Naruto and Sasuke's best efforts, where we even had Naruto basically pinning down Isshiki and Sasuke coming in with Shidori. I would have figured Isshiki could have gotten out of it with space-time ninjutsu, but Kodachi essentially had him use Daikokuten, which, as I said, and I just can't emphasize it enough. Ishiki's move pool, at surface level or at first glance, it seems simple, but his defenses are pretty much covered. There's hardly anything Naruto and Sasuke can do. So yeah, for the fight, for the most part, it went exactly like I expected, but at the same time, I will agree, I kind of wanted more from the fight choreography in terms of what the characters were using against Isshiki, but it is what it is. So going forward, we had this section with Kawaki, not like I was expecting, but we had it anyway, where we see him dreaming and just kind of reminiscing on what Jigen or Isshiki said to him about him being empty and not having any purpose. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, yo, it's a dream, but it's not played upon, it's not really spoken, they don't really dive more into that in terms of what action is going to take based on all those things Isshiki said to him. We just basically have a reminder, just a little refresher about Amado bringing Kawaki up to speed, telling him that Isshiki is here for him, and that, you know, things have been going according to plan, and that, yo, if we can just hold off, then things will be good. If we can hold off until Isshiki dies, then we'll be good. Of course, Shikamaru is in there saying that, yo, you know, you're free as a bird. Of course, Kawaki doesn't agree. But with that said, it kind of makes me wonder, based on the dream and what Isshiki has set up to Kawaki at this point, in terms of him being empty and that the Karma Seal was essentially a way to give his life purpose at this point. I'm wondering if it's going to segue into Kawaki making like a stupid decision, which I feel like that would be out of character considering he's become such a, how should I put that, valuable member of the Uzumaki household. Naruto really cares for him, as not just for the fact that he is, you know, the target of the enemy, but Naruto genuinely cares for him, and Kawaki realizes this. So if Kodachi really makes Kawaki do something stupid, then yeah, that would be out of character. But I think it's going to go along the direction that I feel like Kawaki isn't going to necessarily say do something stupid, but it might as well be. But he's going to reason that he might not have any choice but to do what he needs to do and accept the Karma Seal just to buy him some more time and to save lives, more unlikely. So there's that. Of course, we segue back to the fight. I know I've covered most of it so far, but for the most part, after the Daikokuten, Sasuke is pinned down and Isshiki essentially is ready to take out Sasuke. Boruto comes in, and of course, as expected, Boruto is the and I've said it, he's the factor in the fight that really changes how it ends, and Amado even confirms this by the end, hence the title Potential Value. So we find out that Isshiki essentially can't kill Boruto. Like, not that he can't, but it seems there's more at work here, there's more at play in terms of the relations between the Otsutsuki. Now, taking the statement that Isshiki had at the start of the fight, in terms of him wanting to see how much power like Boruto has, and the fact that he can't kill him, I think that's probably one of the best parts of the chapter, because it sets up what I was expecting with this chapter. It sets up the, how should I put it? It's starting to set up that dynamic, or that starting point of us learning more about the Otsutsuki, because as I said, we know from get-go Boruto has been fighting an uphill battle by trying to make the Otsutsuki more interesting. And if we can dive into their culture and their internal conflicts, that is at least a decent starting point. So at least seeing what the dynamic and relationship is between Isshiki and Momoshiki, I think getting that in this chapter is a decent setup, and it does add weight to the series, the narrative going forward, because that's something that's needed. As I've said time and time again, we're getting into the time skip, and I know, considering that Naruto and Sasuke are continuing to lose time and time again, the push for Boruto to step up is it's increasing with each chapter. And Kadachi, you can see with Kadachi pushing Boruto more and more into the spotlight. So yeah, so I like that. I like it, because as I said, the Otsutsuki, even up to this point, there's so much to be desired from them as antagonists, and it falls into the major problem of Boruto, I would say. But all in all, by the end, we have Amado saying, yeah, Boruto probably realizes how much he realizes his potential value in this fight against Isshiki, and maybe he might be the key to actually, you know, defeating him, which, I mean, that's only to be expected at this point. So all in all, I thought it was a good chapter. I thought it was a decent chapter. I mean, it has its double-edged swords in terms of the content itself. As I said, I felt like even though I was kind of excited and hyped while watching it, but while reading it, I feel like the choreography for the fight could have been more, like, you know, thought out in terms of what Naruto and Sasuke could have pulled out of their, you know, their arsenal. But at the same time, I acknowledge the flip side of that, because I've been preaching over the last 4 weeks more or less that there's only so much Naruto and Sasuke can do against Isshiki. They themselves haven't gotten any stronger. Isshiki has gotten stronger, and Ishiki's defenses are pretty tight, to say the least. So for the most part, the fight went as expected, but I guess persons on the other side of things just wanted them to at least pull out more jutsus for the most part, but it would have just been a waste of chakra, honestly. So there's that. The setup for our pushing Boruto more and more into the spotlight is good, and the whole setup for, you know, learning more about the Otsutsuki is a next good thing as well as revelation of Boruto's, you know, almost 100% Otsutsukification. Is more or less at 75 to 80%, so it leaves more questions to be asked in terms of how this narrative is going to play out, I feel. So yeah, all in all, I thought it was like a 7 out of 10 chapter for me personally. So let me know what you guys thought about it. Let me know what you guys thought about my thoughts on it as well. I'm really looking forward to where the story goes. Honestly, I know right now I've been hearing that the Boruto manga sales haven't been that good, but I'm hoping with each and every chapter, hopefully something can happen. But it is what it is. Anyway, Sanju Uchiha, be sure to subscribe. Of course, let me know what you think in the comment section. And as per usual, you know, after this I'll be doing a bunch of discussion videos and predictions and all that jazz and blues leading up to chapter 51. So if there's even a specific topic you guys want me to talk about as well, you can definitely leave that in the comment section. But anyway, it's the start of the weekend. I hope you guys are keeping safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in, guys.